So, where are you from?
Where am I from?
Yeah.
I'm from here.
So you grew up in Utah?
Yeah, Salt Lake City. Literally, like, several blocks away from Ice Haus.
Okay.
For the audience that doesn't know, although you should.
They won't.
I host stand-up comedy open mics over at Ice Haus, and I grew up, like, just a few blocks away from it. Just born, raised, never left type shit.
So what high school did you go to?
I went to Cottonwood High School.
Cottonwood High School, okay. What year did you graduate?
2015.
2015?
What about you?
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Same.
Really?
Yeah, are you 24?
I'm about to be 24.
Holy shit, I didn't know we were the same age.
Yeah, on the 14th of March.
Oh, what the fuck? That's cool.
You're like, you look so much older, you look like you're 50.
I thought you were like at least like 27, 28, like a little bit older.
Thanks, I get that a lot.
Yeah, you've got that charisma, you know, that fucking
uniqueness,
attitude.
nerve, talent, yeah.
Yeah, huh.
No, like, I'm so upset about it, honestly, because I'll go to, like, places that are supposed to card you, like, when I buy cigarettes or when I go to the bar, and I'll, like, bring my ID out, and they're like, you're fine. And I'm like, fuck you, I don't look that old that you need to be like, you're fine, you old bitch, but it's fine.
Maybe it's just the way that you carry yourself. I mean, for sure the way you carry yourself, yeah.
The way you carry yourself.
Yeah.
You carry yourself like an 80-year-old woman.
Yeah. Carry yourself like a broad who's popped out a couple of kids, you know, who's paid a mortgage off.
Yeah, I have the same body type,
too. So yeah, damn, that's crazy. I honestly didn't know we were the same age. When's your birthday?
March 14th.
March 14th.
1997.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I'm February 5th, 1997.
You're an Aquarius.
I am an Aquarius.
I get such Aquarius vibes off of you. That's crazy.
What does that mean? So I'm not big into astrology or anything like that. I mean, I know a little bit of
man whore. That's the vibe I get off of you. Yeah, really.
Exact opposite.
Really?
Exact opposite, yeah.
You hear it, folks. Astrology is bullshit.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
no, it's not because I'm such a Pisces.
To a degree, okay. Okay, so, yeah, I'm definitely not a man whore. I've definitely, I am actually, like, not, like, shy of sex, but, like, it's never, like, and granted, I do constantly think about sex, but I never act on it. Like, I've never been like a poon hound. That's just never really been my thing. Yeah.
Scrum hound. What did they call it on YMH? Ball hog.
Ball hog. Yeah. But,
this is Manny Lafferty, and he's a ball hog.
Oh, I should have worn my Saka Souffle hoodie, but
yes.
It wouldn't go with these. They would look fucking weird.
Can I do some ASMR?
Okay.
Hold on.
There you go. Oof. Oh, there you go.
Oh my gosh.
Shit. So you graduated in 2015 from Cottonwood High School. Yeah, I graduated from Valley High School.
Where's that?
It's in
the Valley.
It's in South Jordan. Right off of like I-15, like 111th South or some shit like that.
Okay.
It's an alternative school. It's a school like that's where all like the pregnant girls were and like all the dropouts and shit like that. People who failed.
I probably should have gone there.
It was great. It was a fucking blast.
Really?
It was. So it was an alternative school, which means like I said, all like the pregnant chicks, the fucking the kids who were like going towards dropping out, you know, all of them went there because like I initially went to Copper Hills and I like failed all my classes like junior year. Sophomore year I did okay. Towards the end of the year I started to slip a little bit, but then I went to Valley the last quarter of my junior year, and then I graduated early in my senior year. I graduated in January.
Oh, okay.
And Cottonwood, fuck, I'm trying to think if I knew anyone from Cottonwood, because Valley, like, people literally from, like, all over the place went to Valley, you know?
Oh, okay.
And I don't think I knew anybody there. I think, I don't know. But, so what'd you do before comedy?
Let's see. Hooking, obviously. No.
A little bit of crack?
No, crack after comedy.
Oh.
That's not even a joke. Crack after comedy. But, no, I just, actually, what was I saying? Oh, yes, in high school, when I was, like, I started going to, do you know what Rocky Horror Picture Show is?
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, so Rocky Horror Picture Show is like a really crazy like theater live art thing of like a movie. They do it over at the Tower Theater on like 9th and 9th. And I started going when I was like 13, and then when I was 16, they finally let me into their I'm so sorry. They finally let me into their cast when I was like 15 or 16.
Okay.
So I was doing Rocky Horror Picture Show from like age 16 to like even now I still do it. So that was my main thing. And then just after high school, I started doing, once I turned 18, I started doing some underwear modeling. And then everyone that knows me now is like, lies.
Yeah.
But that was just my main thing, was just modeling and Rocky Horror Picture Show. And then actually a comedian opened for us at the theater, and I was like, what you do is so cool. He did like he's not in the scene anymore, he's a piece of shit, but he did very like Andy Kaufman-esque shit. That's why he opened for us. And I was like, where do I go do or see what you do? And he brought me to his open mic at the Tower coffee shop or whatever. And then that's how I got introduced to stand-up.
Okay. So did you always, like from right off the bat, were you just like, yeah, stand-up, that's my shit?
I've been obsessed with stand-up since I was really little, and I just was like, oh, we're in Utah, so there's no stand-up comedy here. I just assumed that.
Right.
And then as soon as I saw the other person, I was like, okay, if there's anything I can do regarding stand-up, I would love to do it. And then little did I know there was like a giant scene, so.
Yeah, it's a lot bigger than I thought. Like
so much bigger.
Before I ever did stand-up, I just thought it was Wise Guys, and I didn't know that.
That's what everyone thinks.
Yeah. That's because that's, where I did my first open mic.
Yeah.
And then I didn't even hear about Ice Haus until like a couple weeks after. I mean, I actually knew Ice Haus did open mics because a couple years ago a friend of mine went there and she was just like, oh, they're doing an open mic. I had no idea. And she was a fucking idiot. And I was asking her like, okay, like, because at the time I was interested in doing stand-up, but this is like about 2 years before I actually started. And so I was like, okay, what time was it? Like, what day did you go? And she was just like, I don't know.
I'm
like, what the fuck do you mean you didn't know? Like, but yeah, it was probably like one of the Monday. I mean, it had to have been one of the Monday or Wednesday open mics because I think she was saying it was an open mic.
It was always on Mondays before I started doing it. It was hosted by Joe Everard, and then he ended up handing the mic to me and this guy Kevin Doty. Did you ever meet him?
Mm-mm.
We were actually co-hosting it, and then we struck a deal with Ice Haus to let us do Wednesdays as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always Mondays, and now we've been doing it Monday and Wednesday, although like 3 years ago, I think, well, not 3, but like maybe 2.5 years ago, he kind of just handed it over to me. So now I've just been doing it for 2 days a week.
Mm-hmm. So
it's
what?
Been awful.
Yeah. Fuck. Last Wednesday for me, that was fucking rough. Like one of those nights.
Everybody did fine. I thought it was so fun.
Not for me. Like
It's because everyone knows you're a cop. So.
Yeah. Fucking. I'm working on a bit about that because like. I had to try so fucking hard to convince Kayla that I was just a regular piece of shit, and she wasn't believing me. Do you know how fucking weird that is to like try to convince someone that like
that you're not a narc,
that I'm a piece of shit? Like I'm a loser. Like
the more you say I'm not a narc, the more you sound like a narc.
I know, and I was like, it literally took me like over an hour to convince her that I was just like a fucking stoner. Degenerate, not a fucking cop, and like I never thought in my life I would ever have to tell a woman, hey, I'm a piece of shit, and like she wouldn't believe me, like it's normally I'm like trying to not lie but like hype myself up to look like I'm the shit or whatever, know, and like, and that was easier than fucking convincing her that I was a piece of shit because I think she still thinks I'm kind of a cop a little bit, like I don't know, It was fucking weird, man, but it was fucking hilarious. You heard that whole story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, we were just on Molly and mushrooms, and at some point, RJ was like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we were all narcs? And then Kayla was just like, she's like,
no.
You guys are narcs.
Oh,
so
my gosh.
she took that, like, really seriously, and, like, for the whole night, it was just, like, downhill from there. Like, I had to kick out RJ and Caden because, like, Kayla just kept saying that she wasn't, like, she didn't feel safe, and she kept saying she needed to speak to a lawyer, and I was just like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what happened in my house? Like, what the fuck? Why do you need legal counsel? Like, what's going on?
Gosh.
And, yeah, at some point she was just like, she's like, I know who you are. I know what you do. You've created this really good cover story for yourself. There's really good background. And she's like, yeah, I know who you are. I'm like, what, do you think I'm a cop? And she goes, I think you're higher than that. And I'm like, yeah, I am higher than that, literally. But, like, I'm not a fucking cop.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was fucking funny, man. It was really fucking funny.
I just wonder, like, how intricate is it to, like, have your own... Honestly, that's such a good idea, to have your own stand-up set. Like, you have your own jokes and stuff. It's not like you're just showing up to the mics, hanging out with the comics, and then not doing stand-up.
Yeah.
That would look sketchy. But for you to have your own stand-up set and go and actually want to be on shows and stuff, and then also be, like, an undercover cop, that's such a good backstory.
That is a good cover, and, like...
She's way smarter than your life actually is.
Yeah, I know, she gave me way too much credit, man. Yeah, I know, I don't work that hard, fuck. But, yeah, and she... you know, my whole background, because I was, like, working for my dad, and she was like, yeah, that's a really good cover, working for your dad, and this and that, and she thought that I was trying to take down, like, drugs going through Ice Haus, and it's like, what fucking drugs, though? That's the thing, like, the little bit of weed that comes through, like, come on.
There's drugs, but it's not, you know, it goes somewhere else. Go to, like, I don't know, I'm not gonna name any bars, but go somewhere else if you're trying to bust drugs. You know what I mean? At Ice Haus, it's not.
We don't even smoke weed on the property, like
because you're not allowed to.
Yeah, and like
anymore.
We just, you know, we're not gonna try to fucking get the Ice Haus in trouble or anything like that.
Well, it gets me in trouble.
Yeah,
when I had comics smoking on the premises, they were like, "You need to make them stop."
But yeah.
That's it. That's the only reason why I'm so. I think a lot of people think that I'm kind of a bitch at Ice. I mean, I am a total bitch, but I think a lot of people think I'm really like, oh, what's the word? Neurotic, sort of. But the thing is, I get in trouble for everything that happens at Ice Haus. Like, if y'all do something sketchy, or if y'all get in trouble for something having to do with the equipment, or like drugs, or starting fights with... Well, the thing is, like, yeah, well, that too, when y'all did that, I mean, I wasn't even that mad at most of you guys. I mean, if it were up to me, y'all would be able to, but the problem is with these open mics is not only is it just the bar being like, well, you know, some shit got destroyed, or there was a fight that like a year and a half ago, there was a host that ended up almost getting into a fight with an audience member. And that's the type of shit that happens when I'm gone, so now it's kind of like, I can't be gone for things, otherwise I'm the one. And they were like, well, why did you chose that person? What's wrong with you? Kind of attitude, so.
Yeah.
And then I have comics on the other side being like, you chose that person and didn't choose me, you chose, you know. So I have to be neurotic and kind of bitchy in every situation, otherwise my back is not covered, but.
Well, and then there's the potential of just like not having a mic too, so.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a really, really strong relationship with that bar, so it would have to be a lot for me to like lose it, but I also just don't want to take that chance as well.
Yeah.
You know.
I didn't know that bar was only like 5 years old. I didn't know that they opened it up in 2015.
It was called something like Monkey's Paw before. It was called something weird. It's been a bar, I think, since it's been built, but it's changed owners and like vibes. Yeah. Often, so.
Yeah, I like that bar. It's a cool spot.
I love it. It's so good for comedy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a really good location. I wish the fucking like on the nights that we do have crowds, I wish people would like actually fucking shut the hell up, because especially when they're upstairs, because that noise really carries over.
The upstairs noise is the worst.
Yeah, like when they're playing pool and shit like that. Like that one night, I think it was a Wednesday night, a few weeks back, when there was like that group of like 20 people up there.
Yeah. Why are you partying and have a reserved area on a Monday or Wednesday night? I'm so confused. Like, they're like, it's my birthday. I'm like, party on a Friday or a Saturday. On Fridays and Saturdays where I'm doing shows, I'm like, okay, I expect this behavior, but on a Monday or a Wednesday, what are you doing with your life that you're just...
I mean, also, we're out at the bars on Monday and Wednesdays,
That's
too.
true, but we're doing, like, a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not just there to get shit-faced.
Yeah.
I mean, we are, but we're also there to do stand-up.
Yeah. I usually get pretty shit-faced.
Me too. Well, I usually get really, really high.
Yeah, I try not to get too high, but I mean, fuck, if I'm gonna smoke, you're not gonna not get too high. I mean, come on, what am I, bitch? Like, what am I, little pussy? Just, okay, guys, I'm done.
Yes, you are. No,
Yes, yeah, I'm a bitch, but.
I get so much anxiety over doing the mic that I get either really drunk or really high in order to be able to do it. Because it's just, it's so anxiety ridden, the whole experience.
Nerve-wracking.
Well, it's like if I do the stand-up bit as the host, there's pressure on me to be really good, and then there's, you know, all the weird problems that arise with doing the mic. It's like problems before, during, after. People like, you know, you gave me the light too early, you know, I was supposed to be on the list, and I'm, you know, just a lot of random bullshit that just gives me anxiety. I have anxiety to be around people in general, so to be hosting an open mic with friends being there, it's so anxiety inducing, so I just either get shit-faced or high or something.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely, I mean, for me, bombing isn't so bad when I'm high, like, for sure.
Oh, it's worse when I'm high.
Really?
And when I'm drunk, I'm like, I don't care. I literally have shown my tits on stage when I'm drunk because I don't care. But if I'm high, I'm just standing up there like, everybody's looking at me and I feel like I'm not funny right now. Like, that's how I am when I'm high. I probably won't do stand-up if I have smoked. But.
Yeah, when I go up high, I'm just like, all right, guys, here's some jokes for you. If you laugh, great. If you don't laugh, great. I'm just going to get through this fucking set, and then... like those are the nights that I usually sit on the stool. Like if I'm like sober or something like that, I'll be like walking around or a little bit more energetic. But like when I'm blitzed, I can't stand. Like I just have to sit down and just be like, okay guys, this is gonna be a rough one for all of us.
Yeah.
Like let's fucking do this.
I've performed on shrooms before and that was pretty great.
I would love to.
I was great.
I really want to go up on shrooms.
I was very like I didn't say this out loud, but in my head I was very just like, oh my god, like I'm making you laugh and you're laughing, so we're all one in this room right now. Like I just had this like very beautiful, very like shroomy idea of performing while I was on shrooms. It was great. I love shrooms.
Me too, yeah. I do
so
too. Great. Have you ever mixed shrooms and Molly?
No, I've never done Molly before. I would like to.
It was fun. I mean, we didn't do a lot of Molly. We did like half a point each, like half a hit. But then we mixed it with mushrooms, and like we were also like just smoking a ton of weed.
That sounds like hell to me. I can't mix things. I don't even mix weed and booze.
Really?
Yeah, very rarely. I'm not.
I love getting crossed. It's my fucking
not
favorite.
Me.
Especially with mushrooms. Like mushrooms and alcohol are a really good mix, but you got to be in the right environment. Like you got to be like around fun
As with
people.
everything.
Yeah.
Even with weed or booze, you have to be in the right headspace.
Yeah. But like I've gone on like benders where we would just like last year out in back in like May, I went out to Colorado with some of my friends, and we just like went camping out in the desert, and you know we drove like 30 miles into the desert. We brought like just a fuck ton of beer, a fuck ton of weed, and a fuck ton of mushrooms. Well, not that much mushrooms. One guy had some mushrooms, but there was one of the days where we just, I mean, the whole trip was just a bender. Like we were just out in the desert partying. You know, there was like.
Wait, which desert?
It was Fruita, Colorado. So kind of by before Grand Junction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
I just went through there recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Oh, yeah, it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
We were camped up right on this cliff edge, like on the edge of this cliff, and there was like this big canyon, and so like in the mornings we would just wake up and just walk right over to the cliff, and I had a jet boil, which is like a little mini like pot, and it's got a little, it just runs on gas, so you hook a little gas can up to it, and you just like boil water and shit in there. So like we would just like make coffee, smoke a bunch of weed, drink beer, and just hang out there, and that was pretty much what it was the whole 5 days or 4 days.
Sounds fun.
It was awesome.
I hate being outside, but that sounds fun.
Oh, I love it. It was so fucking fun. But we were just out there, just partying from dusk till dawn, just fucking raging. Just at one point we ran out of beer, so we had to drive all the way back to town. Like it was like an hour and a half drive just to go get beer. And so we went on beer runs. We bought weed, and Yeah, day in, day out. It was just fucking partying. And the day we did mushrooms, we only did mushrooms on one of the days because, you know, that's all, we only had so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, we mushrooms, fucking slamming edibles, slamming beers. Like we were all shotgunning beers, beer bongs, all that shit. It was the best day of my life. Like we were standing on the edge of this cliff, just tripping balls on mushrooms, and it was like a 200-foot drop. Like, and we were just standing on the edge, like whoa, like trying to fucking fuck around, and
oh my gosh.
it was awesome. Just like all the colors and all the scenery and shit like that. Everything was just funny. Everything was hilarious, and there was maybe like 5 of us that were on mushrooms. The other like 10 people, they were just like drinking or smoking or whatever, just hanging out. But it was really fun, and I've done that a couple times. Like I've had a couple trips like that where we just go out and just fucking full send it, you know. And some of them were better than others. Like last year in October, I went on a hunting trip out in Colorado, and on one of the last night that we were there, we did the same thing. I brought like a half ounce of mushrooms, and I just shared them with everybody, and everyone else had their own mushrooms too. So we just, you know, we were doing that, smoking dabs, weed, drinking, and everybody got really crazy. Like some of the guys were just running around the fucking woods at night, just fucking being hooligans, and it got to a point where it was like annoying because it was like, it's nighttime, like you guys shouldn't be running around the fucking woods, you're gonna fucking hurt yourselves, and there's like fucking animals sleeping, like let the fucking animals sleep.
Yeah, and then, that's the scariest part of being outside is the animals and the bugs and the... What kind of animals was it that you guys were waking up?
Bears, coyotes, elk,
yeah, they're
deer.
The scariest part of being outside, genuinely.
Nah, they don't, they leave you alone.
No way, I'm terrified.
Yeah, unless...
Yeah, just being out there and having a snake.
They're more afraid of people than you are of them.
No way, dude. They scare me so bad. No way. I don't believe you.
Yep. The only reason a bear would ever fuck with a person is if it was starving or if like you had food.
Its baby or had its babies there.
You would have to like
fuck with its babies.
Yeah, you would have to like approach the bear. Yeah, these dudes were just running around, hooting and hollering and shit like that, screaming, like, chasing each other through the woods. It was funny. It was the fucking funniest night of my life. Like, at one point, one of the dudes, like, they were separated. So, like, one of the guys was, like, clear the fuck up here in the trees. Another dude was clear the fuck over here in the trees. And they were yelling at each other. But we didn't know they were separate. We thought they were together. So we just hear one guy over here yelling at someone over here. And we thought, like, somebody was, like, about to, like, fuck us up. Like, we thought somebody was, like, trying to start a fight with us, you know? And so... and they're yelling at each other, fuck you, shut the fuck up, like, fuck you, you know, just aggressive. And they were friends, you know, they were just fucking idiots. But, yeah, we thought it was, like, just like another camper or something like that, like, about to fuck with us. So, like, of course, one of the fucking guys grabs his gun, and we're just like,
oh
bro,
no,
put that,
so scary.
Put that away, man.
That's scarier than the animals.
Yeah, it was way scarier, but he put it away. And the next thing you know, this guy's running down the mountain, and he starts getting closer to us, and we see, like, his headlamp turn on, and he's hauling at us, full sprint, and all of a sudden, boom, he fucking trips over a log and just fucking eats it. He just falls right to the ground, and we're like, bro! So we run over to him, and he's all like, he looked like Peter Griffin, like, you know, whenever Peter Griffin was like all fucking twisted up and broken.
God.
And we're like, dude, are you okay? And he's like, bro, my heels touched my neck. And we were just like, oh no, like he broke his foot.
Meanwhile, I try for 6 straight months to have my heels touch my neck.
Yeah, I can't. I've done that once. Have you ever like scorpioned on accident?
Not on accident.
No, it hurts when it's forceful. I did that once.
It feels better for me when it's forceful.
Yeah, that's, you'll have to tell me about that.
No, but that sounds scary. That's, oh my god, that sounds so painful when you like fall into it.
Yeah, and then they also were like, it got gay. It got really gay. Like, it was just like it was just all dudes, and like
there were feather boas and
not that gay.
There.
No, they were like,
okay, a little gay.
It got a little gay. It looked like they were like about to fight at one point because they had, like, had each other like this,
and then they made out.
They were about to, like, I'm pretty sure, like, if we weren't like heckling them, they might have, because they were like, I fucking love you, bro, I fucking you, my fucking best friend, you know, just getting all bromancy. And then, like, one of them, like, they just started, like, wrestling or something like that, and then, like, they fell over and, like, they knocked, like, the table over. Like, we had all of our shit on the table, like, all of our food, all of our, like, utensils, equipment, all that shit. We had like the bongs and the dab rigs on there, fucking open knives and shit like that, and they just took that all out. And yeah, it was fucking crazy. it was
Really
wild. But it was the funniest thing I've ever fucking seen in my life. It was I was on the ground laughing the whole time. And that's why you should do drugs, everybody. Yeah.
The one time, so I fucking hate being outside. I hate being outside. I hate camping. I want to be, my like natural habitat is like in a hotel room. That's
really?
I would, if I could live in a hotel room, I would. I want to be inside. I don't want to be outside. I want to be inside at all times. I hate even just going to a bar. I hate even just standing in line. That's how much I hate being outside. But when I was like 19, I did peyote and I went out to the desert and it was fucking rad. Nice. And I had my roommate at the time was Native American, and him and his uncle were just like, do you want to come camp with us in Mercer and do peyote? So I took this like, it's pretty weak, but it was like peyote tea, and they just sort of like walked me through this like spirit journey. It was really wild. We meditated for like an hour straight. They told me my spirit animal was a moth. It was wild. It was in Mercer Cemetery. Have you ever heard of that?
Mercer Cemetery.
It's really creepy. It's a desert with a cemetery in the middle, Mercer Desert or whatever. And the cemetery is like, I think it's like Civil War. All the soldiers from Civil War that like they couldn't identify the bodies, they just put them in the middle of this desert in a cemetery and then put these like planks up that were supposed to be like headstones basically. But I don't think you know any of the names, but people will go there and place like dolls and flowers and stuff on the graves. So when you're on a psychedelic and you're walking through this like cemetery with plastic and like porcelain dolls, exactly. And they all like have their eyes missing from like the weather and shit. Oh my god, it was the creepiest shit ever, but it was fun. I like to be scared.
Yeah, I do to a degree.
Which is why I'm a female comedian.
Yeah, there you go.
Like being constant fear.
Yeah, you want to be scared all the time? Just, go be an open micer.
Be an open micer with a vagina.
Yeah, around sexually depraved deviants.
Yeah.
Well, not all of us. Not some of us are depraved, but not all deviants.
Not all men.
Yeah. But, so what was peyote like? Did you have any, like, visual hallucinations?
It was so weak, dude.
Really?
Yeah, it was weak peyote tea. It felt very much like shrooms. I had visuals when I was meditating and they were walking me through the like spirit quest or whatever. But it was more like almost like when you daydream but more vivid.
Okay.
So it wasn't crazy. The experience was crazy, but it was just very shroomy.
Yeah.
Nothing to really blink an eye at. It's more the stuff happening around the peyote that was crazy.
Yeah. So. Where's this cemetery at? Like what desert? Like what state?
Utah.
Oh, it's in Utah?
Yeah. It's called Mercer Desert, and then inside of it is Mercer Cemetery.
Is that out west or south?
I don't know. It's been a long time. I've only been there twice. And both times I had crazy drug shit happen. So I was not in my right mind to like... Yeah. We could probably look it up right now. I don't know where it is though.
I would, but it would fuck this up.
Oh, I feel ya.
Yeah. But have you seen anything crazy on mushrooms?
No. It's all very emotional. It's an emotional trip. A lot of people like to go and do things. It's very rare that I like to go and do things on shrooms. When I am on enough shrooms to like trip, all I want to do is lay in a bed and talk. And that's it really. And like watch music videos and stuff. I did have a sometimes I go out and do stuff. I did have a trip where I was watching God is a Woman by Ariana Grande, the music video. Yeah. And I was convinced. I was like, she knows what's up. God is a woman. God is a woman. I had this trip that God was just a giant vagina.
I can attest to something like that.
Yeah?
Not in a literal sense, but, go ahead and finish.
That's it. Oh. God is a vagina.
Oh. So, no, I definitely can attest that, like, God is definitely a feminine power, like a definite feminine energy, because I had this shroom trip actually not too long ago, and I ate about an eighth of it of shrooms by myself, and I was just hanging out in my room. Normally I like to go out and trip, but if I'm by myself, I'd like to just be alone and trip. And I was just, I laid down and I was just like, I just had my eyes closed, I was just hanging out, and then all of a sudden, like, I saw myself like laying in like a pool of like just darkness. It was just black, all dark, and I started sinking into this pool, and then it started to like kind of like surround my face, and I was sinking deeper and deeper into it, and like I just felt like I was delving into like some kind of darkness, like some kind of like dark energy, dark like just like it wasn't a good darkness, you know. It was like like I was going over to the dark side, you know. I was joining the dark side of the force, you know. But I'm sinking into it, and then all of a sudden I see this light like ahead of me, and the light was like, no, come over here, like come over to the light, come. This is where the good stuff is. Like, come into the good. And I was just like, no. Like, I was fighting it. I was like, I wanted to go into the darkness. I was like, I'm ready to go into the darkness. Because I just wanted to see what it was like, you know? And then at the last minute, I changed my mind, and I go into this light. And then I get surrounded by this really warm, really, like, embracing, encumbering energy. And it was, I could feel it. And I could feel that it was very feminine. It was a very powerful, feminine, motherly energy. And it was warm, it was nurturing, it felt safe, and it just surrounded me. Like it was like coddling me, you know? And I was just laying there, just like basking in it, I guess. Like I just felt like really safe and really good. And like, and the light, the way it was coming through my my blinds, it was just like, felt like pink almost. It was like a pinkish kind of color. And there was a second where I was like, oh my God, like, I'm a woman. Like, I was a woman. Great. And like, I felt like what it felt like to, like, I don't know if I'd say be a woman, but like femininity. I felt like a very, like, I definitely like tapped into the whatever.
Divine feminine.
Yeah, like I felt whatever feminine energy that was in me, you know, and like I had to like wake up and like look around for a second, like I have a dick, right? Like I'm a fucking guy, like I'm a dude,
right?
Like. And but then I like closed my eyes again and went back into it, and it was just like I was like, yeah, like I don't like the term God. I feel like it's too it's too specific, you know. God usually points to like one being, one like specific figure, one being, at least in my opinion. But you know, I felt like whatever powerful energy this was, it was a woman. It was feminine, and I think that's really what runs the fucking ship. Like I think that's what really controls, I don't know if I'd say the universe, but it's like
it makes sense for it all to be feminine.
Yeah, of course. Like everything, if the world is going to come from something, then don't you think it'd come from a mother? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I really felt in touch with that, and then it was great. It was fucking amazing, and it really made me appreciate like myself and like everything around me, and just that love, that nurturing. And then it went away. Like I'm just laying there, and all of a sudden it went away, and I was back in the darkness. And then, but this time it was like I wasn't sinking into it. It was just more I was like, just like in space. Like I was just in space, and then I see these lights start flickering behind me, and I'm just like, what the fuck is that? And my eyes are still closed, but then all of a sudden are
your eyes closed this entire time?
Yeah.
That's when you see the craziest shit. Is when your eyes are closed on shrooms.
Oh yeah. And then I see this light comes in front of me, and it's like a figure, but it's not like a face. It's not a head. It's not a creature. It's just like a figure made of lights, made of different color lights, and it's like in my face, like like just like fucking with me, like, hey, look, motherfucker, look what I can do. Look what, like I'm here. I'm right here.
He's flexing.
Yeah, and it was another being. Like it was another conscious being, like making actual like conscious like moves, decisions, or whatever, you know. It was like showing me that it existed. And then another one came around and it was doing the same thing, just like showing itself off to me or something like that. And then at one point it felt like I was being picked on by these things, like, but it felt like very like sibling like it felt like something like a sibling would do to you. And then they were just like fucking with me, but I couldn't do anything about it because I'm just like floating in space. So I'm just like, Mom, like calling back to that feminine thing, like, Mom, like come help me. And like they eventually went away, but it was crazy. Like and then I like came to and I was like, God is a woman. Like God is absolutely a fucking woman.
By the way, the way that you just described that whole experience is exactly how all the Salt Lake comedians would describe sleeping with me.
God is Hollie.
The light is my vagina, and then the darkness. The darkness.
Hollie, did you rape me?
The darkness is my asshole.
I think you raped me.
While you were on shrooms. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, that's I truly, to anyone, especially you, I truly recommend. I know people hear like Ariana Grande and they think something very vapid, but I really, really recommend watching God is a Woman. It's so crazy. And you talked about like God is not one thing. They talk about that in that music video with different imagery of God. It's all feminine, but it's all different weird experiences are God. So like she's sitting in a pool full of paint and it's very abstract, but you're kind of like, oh, that is God. But it's just so abstract and it's so many different interpretations that it definitely gives off the vibe of like, oh, it's a bunch of different things. It's could be anything. It could be an experience. It could be what you're seeing as a person. It could be, you know. I feel like she was definitely on drugs when she did that music video.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that kind of stuff, like religious stuff, or like, God damn it, what's the word I'm looking for? Like godlike experiences, godlike stories, and stuff like that. Spiritual stuff. Yeah. A lot of that is inspired by psychedelics. A lot of it comes from psychedelics. Actually, there's a book I'm reading. It's actually this book right here, The Immortality Key. This book is about psychedelics and how they think, like historians and researchers think that they inspired religion, like as a whole.
Yeah.
And it dates back to the ancient Greeks. They think that the ancient Greeks used to use psychedelics for religious ceremonies, and that's what caused them to be able to talk to the gods, and that's where the belief of the gods came from, and then it just it grew and it moved, and like, you know, the Romans started to do the same thing, and all they weren't doing it on purpose at first, because what they would do is they would farm these crops of wheat, and then the crops would have like a fungus grow on them, and then the fungus, they would eat the fungus unknowingly, and then they would just trip balls, like, and and so they figured out what it was, and they started to cultivate it, and then it started to like branch out into just Greek religion, and then it eventually got all the way to the Christians, and the Christians actually tried to outlaw it. They tried to erase that history. They tried to because, you know, the Christians are fucking pieces of shit. You know? They wanted control over everything, and so they completely outlawed that. So they had to do it in secret and stuff like that, and it just became less known, you know, less talked about, more forbidden, I guess. But yeah, this whole book is just them trying to prove that that's actually true, that the psychedelics were used.
There's a theory that I really, really like where, you know, the theory of there's no real afterlife. There's just, you know, you go into the ground, but then you become, you know, the food for the bugs, and you become the food for the animals, and you become the grass and everything. But it's
become something for Ted Bundy to fuck.
Yeah, exactly. No, but you become everything, and like you are conscious, but it's in the theory is basically like when you ego death, that's the feeling you have when you are the grass. That's the feeling that you have when you are the dirt and everything. And when you take shrooms or when you smoke weed, that's you getting closer to the mindset of being a plant. That's why shrooms feel so peaceful for some people. Why weed feels so peaceful for a lot of people is because it's getting you closer to the wavelength of the way plants sort of think.
Yeah. Have you ever ego death?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you feel that?
That's came right before I was like, God is a vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was wild. I cried. I bawled my eyes out. Yeah. Have you ever, there's this guy on, do you ever go on TikTok?
No.
There's a guy on TikTok that I really like. They have these machines and they're real. They're like little clips that you can put on plants, and it changes the frequency that the plants are emanating into sound.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so there's this guy on TikTok that puts it on different plants, and you kind of get to hear what that plant sounds like. And putting it on shroom, like he'll put it on mushrooms, and it is the wildest sound. It's so, I can't even explain it. There's not even words for when he puts that thing on shrooms, because it vibrates at such a weird frequency that the sound of it, listening to it, you can't even explain it to another person. It's really cool.
That's tell me about your ego death.
I mean, what?
Like, did you experience like actual death? Did you experience like what was on the other side of death, other side of consciousness?
It was, I'm trying to think of how to even put it into words, because it is a weird experience to try to put into words. Every time I go into a shroom trip, I usually try to have some sort of intention with it. And I struggle a lot with hating myself. I hate the way that I look. I hate the way that I am. I hate everything about myself all the time.
Samesies.
So, well, that's the thing, is like we as comedians struggle with that a lot, but I really struggle with it to the point where it just kind of overtakes my life at all. In all aspects of my life, I really have a lot of self-hatred. And I think it shows in the way that I dress and act a lot of the time. But I have a lot of hatred for myself. So a lot of my shroom trips are very much to try to get over that hump. And when I've microdosed, I also have that intention with it as well. Like, I want to learn how to like myself more, how to, if not to just love myself, to at least accept and respect my body and my brain and all that. So that shroom trip in particular, I tried to just kind of get over that hump with taking shrooms. I think it was the most I had ever had. And that's kind of what all my trips are about. So my ego death was more just, it was literally a death of my ego. It was a death of the way that I view myself. So it was just looking at myself purely objectively as a just living being, and less so about, oh, I'm so fat, oh, I'm so ugly, oh, like, why are you so awkward, why? So it was literally yeah, exactly. It was literally just a death of my ego, just a death of the way that I view myself, and just looking at myself purely objectively, and like in that moment loving myself fully and completely, and respecting myself fully and completely. And that's why I was so emotional, and I have such a hard time with that when I'm not on shrooms. That's why shrooms are so awesome for me, because it just completely takes me away from all of that ego that I have.
Yeah.
It's in the literal sense of an ego death. I have an ego death. I literally have no ego when I'm on shrooms.
Yeah.
And I have the main reason I love shrooms, I have really, really, really intense body dysmorphia. So yeah, exactly. I see myself as 6 foot tall and 5'5", but I see myself as 6 foot tall, and I see myself as like 300 to 400 pounds. That's literally how I see myself. I have a guy friend that's like super tall, really big dude, and I remember literally thinking like, oh, I look like him, and telling a friend, oh, I look like him, and them being like, you literally don't. And me being like, no, that's literally what I look like. I look like a giant man. But every time I take shrooms, I love looking in the mirror when I'm on shrooms.
Yeah.
And I see myself purely objectively, without that ego and without that idea of how I see myself. So the main thing that I always say when I'm on shrooms is like, oh my God, my hands are so small. Oh my God, I'm so small. Like, I'm so tiny. But it's just in comparison to how I view myself when I'm sober.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. Whenever I look at myself, I'm like, I'm a fucking fat piece of shit. And like, lately I've lost like, a lot of weight, and I've been keeping it off. But like, I've always like had image issues, and I don't know why. I honestly don't. I mean, I got picked on as a little kid because like, I had a little pot belly, and like I had big ears, big head, and but and I don't even care, to be honest. Like, I don't know why I care so much, but I'm always picking myself apart in the mirror, you know? Like, I'm always, like, I try not to look in the mirror a lot, because then I'm just going to be like, you look like a bitch, like, you fat fucking... But then at the same time, I'll, like, buy a big-ass bag of M&Ms and just scarf the whole thing down, you know? Or and then, like, I'll eat, like, a whole pizza for myself, and then I'll hate myself for it. And then, like,
that's how I am, too.
I go to the gym every day, and I'll fucking work out until like I'm about to pass out, or until I fucking hurt. Like, you know, I'll run until like I have shin splints and I can't move. Like,
same.
It fucking sucks. But then when I'm on shrooms, or at least the last time I was on shrooms, I was looking at myself in the mirror, and like I was completely naked. I was just like looking at myself in the mirror, and I was just like, oh yeah, you're fucking like kind of skinny. You're like really tiny. Like,
no, you really are. Like, I wouldn't expect you to think that way, but that's how body dysmorphia works.
Yeah, it's just all in my own head. And I was even comparing, I was like, dude, you look like a cheetah. You're like a fucking cheetah. Like, even cheetah is like a fucking greyhound. And I was like, settle down, you're not a cheetah.
No, I get greyhound vibes for sure.
Yeah, probably. Like I am like a
You know who you
guy.
do look like to me? Like a... Have you ever seen New Girl?
Yeah.
You look like Nick. But
I've gotten that.
You're like a little more conventionally attractive than Nick.
Conventionally attractive? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Browner?
No. I mean, you are browner, but his nose is sort of, I think he's super attractive, but his nose is sort of Owen Wilson-esque. Yeah. You don't have the same nose. You look very similar in a very handsome way, but your nose isn't quite as Owen Wilson-esque.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you.
I hope that's a compliment.
I like him. I like Jake Johnson. He's funny.
I swear to God, people are always like, you know who you look like? And I'm like, oh my God, who? And they either say something really sweet, like they're like, oh, like a Kat Dennings or like a Lady Gaga. And I go, oh, thank you. But half the time it's like, you look like my friend, blah, blah, blah. And I go, okay, let me see a picture of your friend, blah, blah, blah. And I swear to God, it's like the ugliest person I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm like, thanks. Yeah. Or they're like, oh my God, you know who you look like? My friend, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that's Steve Buscemi in glasses. That's not...
Yeah, I've been told that I look like Brad Paisley, the fucking country singer. Yeah, I kind of do, actually. Like,
Speaking of Kat Dennings, I believe her and Brad Paisley are a thing.
I don't know who Kat Dennings is.
Play if you don't.
No.
I'm trying to think. Did you ever see Nick and Nora's Infinite playlist?
No.
What about Two Broke Girls?
No.
What about
Two Broke Girls? Wait.
The brunette.
No.
Okay. Thor.
No. Not a TV person. Kat Jennings.
Kat Dennings.
Dennings. Nah, I don't.
I think people just look at me and they go, oh, you're...
Okay, I'll look it up.
Yeah, they go, you're white looking and have big boobs and long brown hair. You. But...
Kat, K-A-T or?
Yeah, Katdenings.
Oh. No, she's way too white.
Thank you.
I don't think you look like her very much.
Fuck you.
What? That's not a
I get that a lot.
diss.
I think it's... I get Lady Gaga a lot too.
I can see that.
I think it's the nose for sure.
Yeah, I can see that.
When I go blonde, when I wear a blonde wig, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Either is complimentary, but I'll either get like the nicest thing ever. Someone says like the nicest, hottest person ever, or it's literally the ugliest person ever.
People typically say I look like a terrorist. I look like a Muslim.
Well, they're racist.
Yeah, that is a little bit. I'm like, all right, guys, like, come on. White people are terrorists too, you know. Like, be more
absolutely.
specific. If I look like a Muslim, say I look like a Muslim. Don't say I look like a fucking terrorist. I mean,
what are you?
I'm Mexican, Dutch, and Spanish.
Nice. Okay. Mm-hmm. Spanish is from Spain.
Yeah.
Nice.
My grandma, I think her family comes from Spain. Pretty sure her family comes from Spain. She was born in New Mexico. She was born in here, but her immediate family came from New Mexico. Nice. And I think they're on the Spanish side.
Oh, nice.
And my dad's Mexican, and my mom, her dad is Dutch. Like, he was born in the Netherlands, and he came over here when he was like 17, I think. Mm-hmm. So I wish I got those genetics because my grandpa's tall.
I got so I'm mostly Israeli, and then I'm Mexican, Italian, and Greek.
Oh wow.
So I got the nose, and I'm really hairy, but I don't tan. I mean, I tan, but it takes me being out in the sun for a significantly long time. But I don't burn. But I feel like, I don't know, those are just so, like, such attractive groups of people, and I feel like I got the short end of the stick.
Nah, you're an attractive gal.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any siblings?
No.
No, just an only child?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no, I guess, yeah. I was gonna ask, like, what they look like, but...
No.
Yeah,
None
so...
of them.
So your mom is Mexican, and your dad is Jewish.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Israeli.
Israeli Jewish, yeah.
So, was your dad born there, or
No.
was he born here? Yeah. Okay, I know.
We're talking about my family.
I know we talked about this. I just wanted that's as far as I wanted to go.
So on all accounts, I am, what do they say, second generation American, when it's your grandparents that came here from different countries?
Yeah.
I am on all four grandparents, second generation. So my parents were born.
All right. So, where do you like? How do you see? Let me try to word this. Where do you want comedy to go for you? Like, do you?
For me?
Yeah.
So I'm really passionate about a lot of different things. I really, really like acting. I really, really enjoy making music. I really like modeling. I really like doing pretty much everything artistically. So, but stand-up is my passion. I've been obsessed with it since I was really little. So I kind of see myself doing comedy for the rest of my life, and then having that comedy afford me other opportunities.
Right.
So I want to make it into a career, but I also want to do other things while I do comedy.
So you're trying to go more like in a Hollywood direction, or like a independent kind of thing, or Hollywood?
Yeah, pretty much. I would love to do stand-up and also make, like kind of like a Childish Gambino vibe.
Okay.
I want to do it all.
Okay.
But stand-up is, how music is kind of his like main thing.
Yeah.
Stand-up would be my main thing.
Okay.
Because I'm really passionate about it, and and nothing else in my entire life compares to the way that I feel about stand-up. So that's my main thing. And making it into a career is where I want it to go, basically.
Yeah. What kind of music do you like to make? Like, do you actually make it now? Like, you...
Yeah, so I've been really slacking on it. I was learning a few instruments at one point.
Mm-hmm.
If I could make music, it'd probably be a lot of different things, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still kind of starting that journey right now. Still kind of starting that process, so.
Yeah.
But that's a really big... I would say my second main passion would be making movies. That's like the ultimate goal to do while I'm doing stand-up. So hopefully stand-up helps me in doing that,
Mm-hmm. Like, make your own movies, or like star in them?
All three. Just write, direct, and star in them. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Do you do any like video editing or any of that kind of stuff now? Like,
I have.
Yeah.
I have. The problem is, like I used to do YouTube videos. The problem is, a year later, I'll look at something and be like, I fucking hate that, and I'll delete it. That's
good
the problem.
though. But that's good, because that means
progress.
Like, it's progress, and it means that you're either improving or you're changing.
Yeah.
Or both.
Yeah.
Like, I actually years ago, back in like 2019, that's when I first started this podcast. And, this is way before I did comedy. I just did it with my cousin. He was my co-host. And we would just, like, I would just have on my friends and stuff like that. Or, like, people that I thought were interesting. But, granted, looking back, they really weren't that interesting. They were just my friends. But, it was cool practice. And it was, like, it was fun to do. But then after a while, I just got, like, bored of it. I was, my podcasts really weren't that interesting. Like, I could talk for an hour, I could fill an hour, I could fill 2 hours, but I stopped doing it for a little while, and I'd like look back on it, and I was just like, I don't even want to watch this. Like, I can't even listen to it,
Yeah.
And so I stopped doing the podcast for a little while, and then I got into stand up, or I started doing stand up, and then I actually went on Brandon's podcast. He had me on his, and then that just made me want to do podcasts again. And so yeah, that's where I'm at now. I'm doing it, but it's a lot of fun. I do want to like make a career out of this, but like I don't want podcasting to be my main thing. I do want it to be stand up too. Like there's just something about stand up that's just it just beats everything, you know. Like I got a lot of other hobbies too. Like I was saying earlier, like hiking, backpacking, all that shit. Like I really do want to get paid for that, and I do want to be able to like go and do that stuff on my own time and get paid for it. And I actually want to like make documentaries and shit. But yeah, I'm working on this documentary that I put together. I went on a backpacking trip out in Colorado last year, and it was like a 5-day trip, and just with a couple of buddies of mine. And yeah, we were out in the backcountry the whole time. We fucking did a lot of climbing. We summited a peak. It was my first 14er, so like 14,000 foot mountain, and it was beautiful. That area was fucking amazing. It was almost like being in a Lord of the Rings set, you know. It was just just completely untouched, you know. And yeah, just being out there, I want to show people that kind of stuff, you know, because you know people like yourself who don't like to be outside, you know, they'll never see that kind of stuff, and unless you actually go there, and it's you know it's a lot of work to get out there, and so if I can go do that, if I can put in that work and then you know get a good video out of it and show people, I think that could really like become something, you know, that can turn into something. And granted, a lot of people do it, but you know that's why you know I want to be like the best at it, you know. I want to get the shit that I want to go places that people don't go to, like people, because everyone goes to national parks. Everyone's fucking been to Zion. Everyone fucking posts videos of Zion. Everyone goes to Moab. Everyone's seen the fucking arches. You know, we all fucking get it. They're pretty. They're amazing. I love Moab, but like it bores me. You know, unless I'm like hiking out into the desert and in an area that no one explores. You know, because there's a lot of shit out there that you wouldn't really think is interesting unless you're actually there. You know. So there's just a lot of cool stuff that goes unappreciated, you know, and so I want to do that and podcasting while I do stand up as my main. But
stand up is your main bay.
Yeah, even though I'm probably not as good at stand up as I am as those other things, but fuck it, you know, I'll just get good. Hopefully we'll see.
Stand up is also just like. It's a mixture of every skill that you have to have in every other art form.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds so like condescending, but to me, stand-up is the hardest art form of all of them. Because not only are you playing a character of yourself, so you're acting, you're also writing the jokes. So you're also, you know, your own director, your own networker, your own everything. Like stand-up is just an amalgamation of all the really hard parts of every other art form.
Yeah, and not only that, but you have to make people laugh. That's hard. People who come from all over the place, people who, you know, just everybody, you know, and you know, and you gotta be relatable to them too. And I think that's the hardest part is being relatable, and also you gotta. It's very therapeutic. It's very humbling, and it really like. You know, in the 4 months that I've been doing it, I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about like my upbringing, like because before stand up, I never really thought about like the way that I grew up or the way that my parents were, the things that I did, you know, the weird fucked up shit that happened to me when I was a kid or like all the bullying and all that shit. But then like, you know, as I'm writing jokes, I'm going through all that stuff, trying to find material, and I'm like, geez, I was fucked up. Like I was like, man,
humbling is definitely the right word.
Yeah,
for sure. Like, if one day you could think you're the funniest person ever, but the next day you'll bomb and you'll be like, oh, wow. Or, you know, just shit that people say outside of comedy about comedy is very humbling, too.
Yeah.
Do you tell people, like, it's usually not me saying, like, oh, I'm a comedian. I never brag about that, usually. I only, you know, unless people are like, what do you do as a hobby? Usually it's somebody being like, oh, Hollie is a stand-up comedian. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, God. And their first reaction is always, yeah, tell me a joke then. Yeah. So it's just hard in every aspect. Socially, it's hard just doing it in general. It's also a really cutthroat environment.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends that I love and a lot of people I love in it, but it's just very cutthroat.
Yeah.
In every sense of the word.
I mean, it's a rat race. It's every man or woman for themselves or other for themselves. You know, it's like it's brutal. And I get that too. Like I tell my friends that I do open mics and stuff like that, and I don't like saying that I'm a comedian just because like I don't feel like I'm a comedian because
I'm a comedian.
I haven't earned my stripes yet, you know. Like I haven't even done a fucking paid gig yet. I'm going to soon, but
oh yeah.
April 10th, started in motherfuckers,
Nice.
be there. Yeah. But like I just don't feel like I'm a comedian, and my friends will be like, oh, he's a comedian, blah blah blah, and I'm like.
There's also that social pressure to be funny. Everybody's always looking at me like, is she gonna say something funny? But in every instance that's not me doing a stand-up like thing, I am not funny whatsoever.
Same.
I'm not a funny person outside of stand-up.
Same.
I'm a very quiet, very like...
Well, you're not a funny person in stand-up either, so...
I mean, I am.
Just kidding.
I mean, you're a younger man, so you don't get it.
I'm older than you.
You're not... Well, you're younger in this. My demographic is all older men or younger women. And like the gays. The gays for real. My comedy is typically for the girls, the gays, and the theys, and the dirty old men in the back. That's who my stand up is for.
Yeah.
So it makes sense if you're like, you're not funny, bitch. I know you don't think that because I am super funny and amazing and talented and wildly great, but yeah, you're not part of my demographic, so I don't really care what you think.
Fuck you anyways. Yeah,
I actually came on this podcast to tell you that I hate you.
Oh. Okay, well, you know what? This podcast, you can say whatever you want, alright? I just edit it out. Like, fucking...
You, like, dub me over, and I'm, like, talking to the camera, but it's like, I think you're great, man.
Yeah, I guess I can do something like that, yeah. Yeah, but, fuck, I actually forgot what I was about to say.
My people are telling me I have to go.
Okay.
My manager over there is...
Okay. He's like, cut.
My manager over there is telling me that I need to leave, so...
Reel it back. But yeah, well, actually, I think that is a pretty good place to leave off.
Yeah.
I think, we should be going to 5:30, so that's about hour 20.
5:30, yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't understand that reference.
5:30, no, I didn't get that.
As from YMH, where he goes, 8:30.
No, I don't remember.
You don't recognize that guy?
No.
He's great.
Dude, rest in peace to Fed Smoker.
Rest in peace to Feathering in Heaven.
Feathering it, yeah. I actually liked him. He was a fucking batshit lunatic, but
oh my gosh.
He was really funny.
We regularly quote him in our house.
Do you?
For sure, yeah. Oh, all the YMH quotes, for sure.
Keep on feathering it, brother. I do like the keeping it high and tight.
My jeans
mommies.
Yeah, my jeans are tucked over my ears.
Yeah. Are you going to Christina P?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck
I love her. When I met her, she was so sweet to me.
Nice.
I cried the entire time. I was bawling.
Yeah, she's awesome. But anyways, I think this is a good place to leave it
off.
off.
I have Conan later, so...
Yeah. I don't want to keep you.
Yeah, thanks.
But anyways, this is great. It was a lot of fun. It was great getting to talk to you. Getting to know you a little bit better. Thank you so much
for having me on.
Yeah.
Even though
Thanks for barging.
Yeah, I came up to you and I was like, why the fuck am I not on your podcast? Yeah. And you were so nice about it, but I'm going to do it again. I want to come back again, for sure.
I'd love to have you back.
I'll have a different, beautiful outfit.
And I'll be high. Fuck it. But anyways, give some plugs. Any shows coming up? Yeah, of course.
Ice Haus Bar. Ice Haus Bar. We have stand-up comedy open mics that start at 10 p.m. if you want to come watch. If you want to be on the list, it's a tough gig, so you got to get there pretty early at like 9:30, maybe even earlier to get on the list. But yeah, that's Mondays and Wednesdays, 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then I'm headlining Ice Haus. When is this going to come out?
Next Monday.
I'm headlining Ice Haus on the 12th.
This will be out before then, yeah.
Nice. I am headlining Ice Haus on the 12th, and then I have a monthly show at Ice Haus every month. I have my own local magazine that I'm working on. I already have a copy, so if people want it, they can message me on Instagram at goofgrrl. That's GOOFGRRRL. You can get like my little magazines there that I create, and then if you want to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, They're both at Cult Classic Queen, just all one word spelled regularly. And that's pretty much all my plugs. I'm coming out with, I don't know, I'm coming out with some good shit on the stage. So
Hell yeah.
that's all I have planned so far.
Yeah, and I've said this before, but yeah, I'm at Ice Haus Mondays and Wednesdays. Funk and Dive on Tuesdays, or Bucket List at Wise Guys, depending on how I'm feeling. But for the next couple of weeks, Funk and Dive. I'm actually hosting the open mic at the Funk and Dive March 9th.
Nice.
That's at 8 o'clock. Come check that out. I got a show April 10th at the Stoddard Inn in Morgan, so come check that out for sure. Make sure you come and leave me some money. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
I will see you tonight at the
Black Hilarity Show.
Yes.
Shout out to TJ Taylor.
Yay, making moves. But anyways, that's the pod. Thank you guys very much.